Hello and welcome to our second version of our flipped EDU 320 classroom. I'm hoping you enjoy these because it is a good time saver for us, and I'm able to also jump into some topics a little deeper during our classroom time tomorrow. As always, we will meet tomorrow night. I don't want you to think that you're able to skip out or miss out, because there will be some other information that we will talk about tomorrow. It's just the main chunk of our classroom time will be spent with this video. Now, it does say on the syllabus, present your video lesson. We might talk about it briefly, what you found about your video that you liked, that you didn't like, creating a rubric, the positives, the negatives behind it, and I will talk a little bit about some bell ringers that I've seen on some lesson plans. Learning goal rubrics. This is something that I'm starting to do at the middle school level, and it's a big push in South Sioux. I know it's a big push in other school districts around as well, but it is something that is really set up to help your students know exactly what is expected of them, and I will cover that in class tomorrow night. Here's an image that I really want you to remember and to think about. I think I showed this to you at the beginning of the school year, but I really want you to think about how this can impact or affect your teaching. I really love those worksheets we did today. Can we do some tomorrow too? It said no student ever. Now, kids, when they come home from school, they're telling their parents the most exciting part of their day. It might be recess, it might be PE, but it's typically the manipulative stations. The stations that involve the literature, when they can go read with a friend, where they can use the technology tools that are available in their classroom. They're not going home and bragging about how these awesome worksheets that they did. Now, in my situation, I have seen a lot of kids over the years where they take those worksheets home, they don't really have a connection to the worksheet, they throw them away right away. Now, we want to have projects and assignments and WebQuest and projects that the students are able to really dive into and make their own. That's when the learning becomes theirs. Websites and apps for making videos and animation. Now, again, Graphite is kind of my go-to spot that I really enjoy coming here to check out. We have talked a little bit about some of these before. Toontastic, a really fun way to get your kids to be creative with storytelling. You can also go to Shadow Puppet, another fun one that the kids have a blast with. You can do a green screen. Now, my goal is always at the elementary school level to get to where I could do the green screen. I unfortunately wasn't able to get to that point, but I think it'd be a lot of fun to have the students act like they're on a newscast, where they're telling a story about a certain event or a time and place that happened in history, and they can have the green screen as their background. There's a lot of great ones on here. iMovie, if you have Apple product, you can use those as well. It's just another list for you to really think about how you can use videos with your students. Now, it's not only making the video and giving it to your students, but it's having the students make their videos to show you what they learned. Now, Kahoot. This is a lot of fun for students to create a game. They go in, they create the game. They don't have to create the game. The teacher can create the game, or you can have the students create a game for each other. Now, that would be higher learning students. This would be your higher ability students. Now, what you can do, instead of giving your high ability students and having them become the tutor for a low ability students, have them make a Kahoot game and then have your whole class play it. That will really validate their learning, and they'll also figure out, wow, I really have to know everything for this particular standard or unit if I'm going to be the one that's going to make the game for my students. Now, these are just some different games that I did with my students. Now, what I did was I just created the Kahoot link, and you can see I put it right here. I would have my students come to my website, click Kahoot, and it took them right to it. Now, here's something to think about with Kahoot. This is going to go to a different spot than it is when you're going to actually create it. Now, it says create your own Kahoot for free at getakahoot.com. That is different than the link that you share with your students. So if I come here to getakahoot.com, really fun website. And what you can do with Kahoot is once you make the game, there will be a spot that will say share it. Now, you're going to share the URL with me so that I can view your game with your students. Tons of fun. If you've never done Kahoot, I highly recommend you checking that out. The next one, if we work our way back here, is Google Forms. Now, I will have another video that I will attach to this that will show you the breakdown of how exactly to make a Google form. There's a lot of features you can do with it. You can play around with it. There's also some basics. You can just get the basic form out in front of your students. Now, an advantage of an online assessment is it gives them practice before they take their MAPS or before they take their NISA. It's to give them practice online. It's also a huge time saver for you. Google Forms, for instance, there is an add-on called Flubaroo, which will grade the assessment for you. Here's an assessment that I created for second graders. And what the nice thing here is the students can find out their results right away as well. Now, as a former classroom teacher, I did not like going home and having to check all these papers, sort them, and put everything in order. Okay, now this many students missed this question. I want the computer to do that for me. I want this program to run itself. And it does. I created this quiz. I'll just show you the background of what it looks like. Now, don't be overwhelmed. If you look at the Google form and you're thinking, oh my gosh, there's so many steps going on. It's not. Break it down to small chunks. Try your first question. And again, there will be another video that will walk you through every single step you need to know. But don't be overwhelmed by this. This can be a great tool for surveys, quizzes, exit quiz, CFAs, chapter test. It can be a way for you to collect information from your students' parents. On field trip forms, you can do so many things with a Google form. Now here's what the backside of the results looks like. I blacked out some of the names here, and I'm trusting that you're not going to go through and look for any kind of information on here other than just the facts. Now here's what the spreadsheet looks like. So it comes in as student submissions. And then what you can do, I'm just going to leave the names up. It's fine. Here's the names right here. So now, for instance, at October 24th of last year, at this specific time, this particular student from this class submitted these answers right here. Now, you can run a conditional, a count if, or you can do conditional formatting that says, hey, if they answered salmon catcher, turn this column yellow. So you could go in and you could do conditional formatting, and I could type in text contains, I could type in salmon catcher, and I could have that whole thing change colors if I wanted to. But I don't want to do it that way. I want to give a grade, I want a grade sheet. Here's my grade sheet. Now what happened here is it breaks it down. So it shows you, here's the first question. Now this kind of got goofed up here. Someone was looking at it and it got inverted basically. So what this shows is, here's the points possible, here's the average points, and here's how many students submitted for this particular quiz. There were 3 low scoring questions. So now this would show you right here. It shows you question number 1, 82% of the students got it correct. I don't need to focus my attention on there. Wow, 90% of my students got this one correct. I'm good, they understand it. Then you start to see the big drop off. Okay, what happened? This is where you do some self-analysis and you look back and you see, is the question not a valid question? Does it not make sense? Are there multiple answers that could be correct? Or have my students not learned that skill yet? So that's a good way for you to check and see what happened. Do they just miss it? Did a lot of students miss it? That's a huge chunk of students that missed that particular question. Maybe you haven't covered it yet. You can also then turn that into graphs and charts, and you can do a bunch of cool things with it. But that's what the Google Forms looks like. Quizlet. Now Quizlet is a lot of fun to work on for your students. Now, I will tell you that doing the same thing too many times, kids get burned out. So for instance, if your only go-to thing is Quizlet, kids eventually will get burned out and say, hey, that's enough, I want something else. So my recommendation to you is set up a Google form as your pre-test. Let them use Quizlet and then play a Kahoot activity during the time you have them. So here's what it looks like if you've never done Quizlet. Now I created an account. I created an account that I paid for as a pro version. I think it cost $30 a year. Not a huge price, but there were some benefits that I could get. I was able to see exactly their scores, which sets they were working on, what they were creating, what they were doing. It was nice. You don't have to have that version. You can go through, here's the flashcard. So I went through and I typed in, here's exactly the terms, here's what it means, and so forth. Now these are great because instead of making hard copies where the students have to take flashcards home or whatever, they can do them right here. They can also star it. They can hear it being read. Now there's a way for you to read the definitions for your students. How awesome for your students to hear you read it to them. You can star it. You can change some of these back here. It's just a nice way for you to do online flashcards. Now learn. This will, if you put the audio on, it will say the definition or it will say the term, whichever way you have it set up. They have to type it in. You hit answer. Pretty basic. Speller. Speller was never huge for me because I didn't honestly care if they spelled it correctly, but maybe for yours, you do care. You do care. So that's something you'd have to look into. This is one of the best features of Quizlet, I think. Now, I was first introduced to Quizlet because of this right here. What you can do is you can set up your questions right here. So for instance, if I don't want multiple choice. I want to create a new test. I just want it to be like this. Actually, I don't like true false. I just want every question written. Okay, great. There's my quiz. Now what you can do, it can be as simple, print it off. Now I wouldn't recommend printing it because you're doing it online. You can highlight, copy it. You can throw it in a Word document. You can put these questions into your Google form. Just simply type them, or you can copy paste. Now what else is really cool is, let's say you have a student that is struggling and their accommodation is only to get less words. I hit 5, bingo, there's their quiz. I have another group of students, they need 8 terms. There's 8, here it is for me. I can hit create test, I can change that as many times as I want. The students can also practice that on their own. It gives them a quiz grade, it gives them incorrect and correct. Now here's a couple of games that the students really like to play. Drag corresponding items onto each other to make them disappear. So for instance, okay, collaborate, what does collaborate mean? Oh, let's go to work with others. Username. They're dragging as fast as they can. What else is really cool with this is you can set up a leaderboard in which you can have your students try to beat their own times. Now that's what the paid version. If you pay for it, you can get all that. Now this is going to fly by pretty fast. It's going to be called Search Engine. Now if you miss it, it will give you the chance to type it in correctly. Again, that's Quizlet, and what's really cool is you can have the students, you can give them access to your sets in which they can then practice all those activities. QR codes. Now a QR code, very simple. You can take, this is the best one I like to use here. So if I want to create this, I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to throw it right in my generator, paste it. I can download the QR code, I can print it. Now if you get into these fancy visual QR codes, that's where it's going to cost you some money. So you can just do a simple download. You can also, it will save it as an image file. I think it's a PNG, a PNG file, in which you can then put that on to your overhead, your smart board or whatever. You can set it up, kind of a cool scavenger hunt as well. Please make sure your quiz or survey is able to be viewed by me before next week. And again, here's your directions, and I will share that document with you right now, and it will just be called Your Name Online Assessments. Creating a YouTube playlist. This is something that can be very effective for using videos in your classroom. I'm not going to go over this right now, but you can hit play, watch it, and you can set up your own little playlist. Alright, now don't forget, I do have another video that I will put in here that will strictly be for creating Google Forms. Alright, thanks a lot.